Thanks for watching Planting Joy Gardens. Check out my new planner, Gardener's Journal and Reference, now available on Amazon. The link is in the description below. Enjoy. Welcome to Planting Joy Garden. I just want to take a moment to discuss garden abundance with you. And so I have two great examples here. The first one is my pepper. This is a giant sweet Marconi pepper, and I'm going to harvest just a little bit today. It can be grown to full maturity, but it's also enjoyable when it's in its smaller state. So this pepper I will be adding to my meal tonight. And the thing about garden abundance is that you're able to eat your food, fruits and vegetables fresh, but you're also able to put some aside for later use. And peppers is a great example. So this pepper, I have the option of cooking it up. I can roast it, I can saute it, I can use it as a seasoning. I can also slice it open and stuff it with cream cheese or sour cream. So there's so many ways. I can also dice it, put it in bags, and stick it in the freezer. One of the things I like to do, in addition to using fresh peppers, is freezing them for later use. Another example of garden abundance would be basil. Basil grows aggressively in the warm months, so I can harvest it and use it fresh and add it to dishes, or I can dehydrate it in my air fryer. So in the air fryer, there are settings. It's called the dehydrate setting. Many of the modern air fryers have this setting. You can simply dehydrate it in your air fryer. You don't need to purchase a special device. So it's always wonderful to use it fresh, but to know that I can harvest some for later use in the winter. And so this is a great example of small space abundance. Around and see where I would like to trim. By trimming it back, you're not only collecting your harvest, but you're preventing it from going to flower, so it will be a longer standing plant. And also, by harvesting and trimming, you're releasing the aroma in the air, which will help to stop the bad bugs. So here you see two examples of garden abundance, peppers and basil. So now we're going to take a look at green beans. Green beans are another crop that will produce for you in a small space. You plant a couple of plants, you get your first flush of green beans, you harvest, you get a second flush. If you keep the plants healthy, you can continue to get up to 3 flushes. So every season, I'm able to freeze gallons of green beans. Okay, now let's take a look at my leaf tower. Don't mind the dog. So here, I'm growing vertically Swiss chard. I've also planted in here some collard greens that are just starting. So just by growing your greens vertically, you can get so many plants in a small space. And I make sure that everything I plant is cut and come again. So now I have Swiss chard with collards. Previously, I had bok choy, pak choy, and mustard greens. So I keep this in production, and I'm able to plant multiple plants. So I have in excess of 40 leafy green plants in this one small space. Okay, so now with my herb bed, the green onions, you saw me cut this down. It has grown back. It's time to harvest again. I can harvest green onions so many months out of the year, over and over again. So I have no need to purchase green onions ever. Same thing with the oregano. I continuously cut this. Some people complain that the oregano takes over the whole bed. Not for me. I'm always harvesting from here. So I have an endless supply of oregano. And as long as I harvest, I can control the size. Sage. In the past, I would have an abundance of sage. This year, it's been so wet, the sage just hasn't produced. Again, I have more Swiss chard. I have it everywhere. Another plant that is great for small space abundance is cherry tomatoes. Now, it is August, it is very wet. Cherries, tomatoes will slow down during the wet, hot time of the year. But if you keep it healthy, it will start to flush out again for you and really produce flowers and fruit in September. Of course, it cannot make it through the frost, but this is another example of small space abundance. I have it in a container here, and you see how large. And I can freeze gallon-sized freezer bags of cherry tomatoes. And the way I use it, after they've been washed and frozen, I literally drop those cherry tomatoes into soups and stews, and they break down nicely. Same thing with my rosemary. I use it fresh during the warm months, but I also dehydrate it in my air fryer, put it in jars so that I have it during the winter. Chives, during the warm months, you use it fresh. During the cold months, you make sure you put some to the side to be dehydrated and used in the winter. Same thing with thyme, and you saw me harvest this before, and I am going to harvest some more of this. I just keep harvesting and I fill my spice jars. Another way to get small space abundance is to plant strawberries. Strawberries, you buy one plant and it turns into hundreds over the years. It multiplies and it produces an abundant amount of fruit. So we've had our fill of strawberries. The actual harvesting season is the month of June, early July in my area. But those that we couldn't eat or got tired of eating, we simply froze and we would pull out in the winter to make smoothies or to make a jam or whatever you decide to do. So you can have abundance in small spaces, and I would encourage you to add fruits and vegetables to your garden if you're not already. And if you're not planting anything, to get started with containers, um, grow bags, whatever you can use, because even grow bags can produce pounds of potatoes for you. Here's a clip of my potato harvest. This is a perfect example of small space abundance. I produce lots of potatoes. So this was just a little chat about small garden, small space abundance. And we'll just take another look at where we started. Peppers. So these I'm leaving to grow on. I have lots of little flowers here. And this is my shishito. So each one of these flowers has the potential to become a pepper. And I'm having troubles with my banana pepper, but it is starting to bud, starting to get flowers. So I have the potential to have an abundance of peppers. Thank you for joining me in the garden. Get out there and grow something.